Some exciting news for the hypnosis industry in Australia. And Justine and I have talked about how do we get this into New Zealand. So, this might be an ongoing project as well. So, in Australia, we can be registered clinical hypnotherapists and claim private health. Here's where the block is. So, back in February 2024, I kept getting all of these blocks from the private health funds saying, oh, well, are you recognised by the AHRG, so the Australian,
House.
no, ARHG, Australian Regional Health Group. And I was like, no. And I thought, you know what, after like ringing like the 10th or whatever amount of times with these private health and not get like literally getting smacked back with Clinical Hypnosis Australia, I was like, right, I've got to ring this ARHG and find out what's going on, where am I going wrong? Because as with everything in hypnosis, if you can't solve something, then chunk it down, right? So I thought, right, I'll give them a call. So I gave them a call and I spoke to a woman named Nikki Chase, and she is amazing. She's exactly like me, so that's what probably another thing that I loved about her was it's cut to the shit, get jobs done, stop doing busy work as such. Anyway, I rang her, got in contact, and I said to her, "Hi Nikki, I'm Trish from Clinical Hypnosis Australia. I'm trying to get CHA on part of with these bodies, and they keep saying to me I have to be part of ARHG." And she's like, and her exact response was perfect. She goes, "Oh my gosh, just tell them to get this stuff right. Hypnotherapy is not a real modality according to the regional health group." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fair enough." So, and I've got this whole timeline of every time I had a conversation, who I had it with, times, dates, everything. Anyway, so I'd ring back these people and I'm like, "Hey, here's a message from Nikki Chase, blah, blah, blah." And then that would get me to the next phase as such. Okay. So after that, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to ring back Nikki and ask for clarity on this real modality stuff because they cover Chinese medicine, mental health services. They do myotherapy as well, aromatherapy, and I'm like, what is this so-called real modality stuff? Anyway, rang her back, and after some communication, she said to me, "I've always wanted hypnotherapy to be part of our registry, but I don't know who to talk to, and I'm so busy, it doesn't matter." And I was like, "Okay, well, here I am. Let's talk." So we got on Zoom and we had a meeting, and we were like, "Look, what is hypnotherapy? What is it good for? What is it not good for? What is the training that's required? And how do we define it so that the average public can read about it and go, oh, now I know exactly what it is?" So that's what we had to do. So I had this meeting with Nikki. We went through all of this stuff. We went through studies. We went through categorizing. We went through the history of the associations and what I knew, what she knew, etc., etc. So we went through all of that stuff. Anyway, she says to me, "I'm going to have to organize a meeting and I'll invite all the other bodies into the conversation. We'll have individual meetings and then come up with an overarching concept of what hypnotherapy is and the training requirements." I said, "That'll be fantastic because some places require you to do this many hours, some places require you to do that many hours, some places every 12 months they twirl their hair and they change the requirements and it's enough to drive you insane." And she's like, "Yeah, exactly." So that's what we did. Sent out a heap of emails to the various bodies and waited to see who would respond so we could have individual meetings with them, find out what their definition of hypnotherapy was, and then bring it together as a collaborative. We had one person respond, one body respond, and that was Australian Hypnotherapists Association. So thank you so much for jumping on board, AHA. So they responded, they turned up, we started doing the definition. I wasn't in that meeting, just for clarity, but they started working on the definition, what their requirements are, etc., etc., etc. Right. Got back on another meeting with Nikki and collaborated all of the work, and she then decided, "I'm going to present this to the bigger body so that we can get hypnotherapy placed as a category, as a real modality.
Yep.
And this is literally how it happens. I'm going to share my screen. Currently, at the moment, Australian Regional Health Group, ARHG, in Australia have 8 categories. And these are those categories. So, acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, counseling, massage therapy, mental health social work, myotherapy, nutrition, and remedial therapy, which can include massage. Okay? Hypnotherapy will now be the 9th category, and it will have a full definition of exactly what it
That's
is.
so cool.
And it will be classified as a real ancillary service for private health funds. Now, how does this change our industry? Because people will be like, okay, we know it's a real service. But the thing is, it's not about us knowing it's a real service. It's about the governing bodies jumping on board, recognizing it on some level, and then filtering that to the private health bodies. So if we go to the private health bodies, here we have, these are all the health funds that are registered with the Australian Regional Health Group and will automatically accept hypnotherapy on board. So there's no longer me ringing individual ones and them going, yes, we do. No, we don't. We do it with this proviso. I don't know what you're talking about. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So there are over 30 of them on ARHG that we will now automatically filter down for hypnotherapy. And if you are a registered clinical hypnotherapist with Clinical Hypnosis Australia, these bodies will be on board and will give you the tick, the green light for private health claims. How cool is that?
That is fucking amazing. Oh, I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore, I got told. But that is amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool. So we'll also have a badge up here as well, for Clinical Hypnosis Australia. And these bodies will now have full clarity on the hypnotherapy as well. Because I lost count of the amount of times that I rang and they were like, yes, we accept hypnotherapy, but we're not quite sure exactly what kind of hypnotherapy. Or they'd be like, yep, we accept hypnotherapy, but it's only for quit smoking. I had one just yesterday email me back that I'd emailed like easy 20 times. And they were like, we believe that hypnotherapy can only be done in person under controlled environments and never via an audio or support system. So we're not quite sure if we support hypnotherapy or not. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So you do realize that hypnotherapy is all about the client. Like, it doesn't need to be in a controlled environment. I don't have to sit there and sticky tape your eyelids shut and then go, right, now I'm controlling you. Like, there was so much misinformation and misinterpretation, especially from the health fund side. So now will be a congruent across the board. Exactly, this is what it is. We will be a category, and these private health funds automatically filter down and go, yes, you're with Clinical Hypnosis Australia. You can be on board with any of these bodies and get the private health claim.
That is so awesome.
So awesome. And like I've said so many times, I don't want hypnotherapy to be governed as in licensed and registered because that brings in all of this other stuff that we're going to have to do on top of what we're already doing. But
Yeah.
what we can do for the hypnotherapy industry is get more clients getting more amazing results and being noisier together.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to work with you in New Zealand with Hypnosis New Zealand, with the New Zealand Conference, with the Australian Hypnosis Conference, with World Hypnotism Day, so that we can all be noisy together. And then these people start listening and go, you know what? This might be a real thing, and this might actually work.
Yeah.
Let's give them a go.
Yeah. And I think for people like, because I've been, I talk to you every day, but the amount of actual phone calls and work it takes, like Trish, every week having a nominated day to talk to people every week. And the thing that's really I give Trish credit for is, there's a lot of people in jobs, in sales positions and stuff where you get knocked back.
Oh,
This is a situation where you get knocked back every week by insurance companies, getting knocked back and knocked back, but having the courage to go back and not kind of take no for an answer. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, and not take
And
no
it
in a
was like
way.
that.
Yeah, and not take no in a way that I could do a soft approach as well. There were many times where I just sat there going, "All right, Trish, we're dealing with blah blah today, and we know that she's a cow." Hi, this is Trish Palin from Clinical Hypnosis Australia. We spoke last week. Blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah.
and I mean, and it wasn't just a month; it was months and months and
This has been
months
since
of
January last
going.
year.
I know, since going to the same places, and like the lady that you worked with that you're talking about now, a lovely lady that was really interested in hypnotherapy and wanted it done, but the amount that you were actually just wasting their time and they had things to do, and to be able to push through that and keep going till you actually get a result was fucking amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Honestly, I think that some of them just got sick of me ringing. Like there was one particular lady that I kept on ringing, and she's like, "Yep, I'm getting around to it. Give me another 2 weeks." Now this had been like 5 months. I get that they're busy, but at the end of the day, if you say you're going to do something, write it on your list, get it done. Like
Yeah.
otherwise, don't say you're going to do something or give yourself a longer time frame. Anyway, I kept ringing her, kept ringing her, kept ringing her, kept checking in every time. She's like, "Oh, I'll be back in 2 weeks or whatever." Anyway, one day I rang and I heard her assistant go, "It's Trish again." Right. Anyway, um, she said something along the lines of, "Oh, just get rid of her," like something like that. And
Yeah.
anyway, as she come back, the receptionist's like, "Oh, look, she's not available right now." And I said, "Yes, I did hear that you said get rid of me. Perhaps get her to give me a call in the next 24 hours so that way we can have a discussion about those kind of words when somebody really wants to help the greater good." Anyway, no word of a lie. 10 minutes later, this woman rings me on her mobile phone and she's like, "Trish, look, to be honest, I'm not quite sure exactly what I've got to do, etc., etc., etc." And I said to her, I said, "No worries." I said, "Let's cross these bridges together and work it out on how we can get from A to B to C." I said, "I'm
Yeah.
not here for you to say no. I'm here for you to say, how do we
How?
do this?"
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. And I said to her, "And now I've got your mobile phone number. I could ring you personally and we can sort it out together." She had it bloody done within 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
went from deflecting me for months and months and months and months to, "Oh shit, I've slipped up. I have to do this."
Yeah.
Because this woman rings me every single Thursday and now she's got my number.
Yeah. 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 Should it be a Saturday now? Every Saturday at 9 p.m. I'm kidding. But yeah, the amount of actual, yeah, you know how they say, when, if you're trying to get to the top, you get knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, knocked down, then boom, it hits. It's the amount of work underneath. So I think that for the Aussie community, and of course it flows over into New Zealand, it's a big thank you from everyone for pushing, because it's such a cool step forward, eh?
You need me to call some New Zealand people? I'm
Yes.
persistent.
Yeah, we're going to do it together. It's going to be a
We earned all these
three-way
grey
call.
hairs.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we'll get on to the New Zealand, but I have an actual feeling that there's quite a large crossover when it comes to private health. A lot of our companies are actually run through Australia, and they're Australasian anyway. So
true, especially with PACFA involved as well.
yeah,
So yeah, absolutely true. And like this is still not in the flow yet. We've got until the
yeah,
31st of July is when it all hits the ground running. So, I think also one of the things I did learn when I was ringing all these places, and a lot of people will be able to relate to this, is when you're hitting the front person, so the receptionist as such, most of the time the receptionist is learning on the job.
mm,
And then for someone like me to ring that not only knows NLP language, but also understands that this person may not know what I'm talking about because it is a very specific request that is very much lower on the budget
Yeah.
rates for the company. And I had to talk to those people in a different manner or in a more nurturing way, even when I had those times where I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to punch you in the
Frustration. Yep.
throat because we had this conversation just last week.
Mm.
We even got approved by some of the funds, and they were like, yep, you're approved. We did all the paperwork, we did the videos as well. And then when I rang up to say, hey, this was supposed to be done by this date, they were like, oh, that person's left now. We're not quite sure where we're at.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I was gobsmacked by the amount of people that had left just in those first 8 months of those jobs.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
High
like,
turnover.
what's
Yeah.
your turnover here? And this is
Mm.
why a lot of people don't know what's going on because they're not staying in a position long enough to get that like that knowledge, that experience as such.
I know with big companies like that, you go in at the starting ground and then they actually move you to different positions as well.
And those
Yeah.
positions are obviously open and are in high demand as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
But that's a cool, yeah, I think it's an
here we are.
amazing step for hypnotherapy. And yeah, for people listening, and I know this is going out to, New Zealand and Aussie, it's one more reason to join an association, to join a body of people, isn't it? Because
Join a professional body because as soon as people see that you're with a professional body, that instantly just goes ding for the rapport. And it's even higher, like it's an even bigger light bulb moment when they're like, oh, you do private health claims. You are definitely up there with the professional. It doesn't matter if their private health doesn't actually cover hypnotherapy or their particular level doesn't do what you do. It's the fact that they go, you can do private health claims. You must be right up there. You must be
yeah,
a
and
highly
I'll talk about
trained
something.
person.
I'll talk about something a little bit downer in the hypnotherapy community with some people, and that's I'm having to talk a lot still about the concept of supervision, and I think it's really important for hypnotherapists to understand when a private health cover like what you've just happened comes along and accepts this group of people on the grounds that they're doing their CPDs, that they're doing their supervision, that they're doing this and that they're doing that, and it's stated on the website that if you're a registered member, you are doing supervision, you've got a police check. If you're not doing that, it's something that has to be done. It's not even a question of doing it or not doing it.
I'll hit the nail on the head for you, darling. Because it's literally the private health people looking at these registered professionals getting supervision and going, this person wants to keep leveling up.
Yeah.
This person is happy to say, look, I'm not quite sure how to navigate this client. What do I do? This person is a professional.
Yeah. And just like any other house, any other industry, like my mum was an OT, they had to do supervision, they had to do CPDs, they had to pay $1,800 to $2,700 a year just to even be in a professional body.
Nurses have to do it, doctors have to do it.
Well, and why? And to me, it blows my mind why people wouldn't want to do it, because
but we want to be
for
seen
your
as
own health.
Yeah, we want to be seen as professionals with these people, yet we don't want to do the work. Piss off. You're kidding me, right?
I'm hearing it, and the amount of times in the last year where people have complained to me about it, and these are the same people that are pushing me to get hypnotherapy regulated. If people can't do 6 supervisions a year paid, then no, to me, it's like, well, you're not ready, because every other mental health profession in the world probably does supervision, and it's just the very bottom. I know that when you study counselling in the first year, you have to do supervision. You also have to pay for your own counselling for the year on top of your study, paid not by the student loans, by out of your own pocket when you're studying. So these things that are put in place, like the police check, like the supervision, if you want to be a registered member, they're there for a reason. And it's a very important reason when other big bodies like insurance, like what you're talking about, they look at us And we are saying that these people are doing these things. And if they're not doing these things, it's on us when we have to record it back. And when a client goes onto a website and chooses a member, and they see, oh, yes, this person's doing supervision, this person's got a police check, and that person chooses to have a session with you, it pays you money, and it's not cheap to have a hypnotherapy session. It's paying hard-earned money. They are paying on the grounds that you are at a professional level and doing all of these things like every other mental health worker in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not doing that, then that membership level is not for you. And you need to go down to the membership level, because you are not being honest on your material.
And even if you're having supervision, not so much to talk about client cases or anything like that, but even if you're having supervision, just to build up your own confidence, your own self-esteem, or to reduce burnout, because you are working in mental health, and some of these people's stories are heavy. It will be transferred to you. And then when you go to a conference or you go to supervision, it alleviates that. You're with your tribe and your people. We get what's going on.
Yeah. And just even, mapping your mind with people that are there to support you, knowing that someone has your back.
We're not here to degrade you. Sure, we're here to say, oh, no, don't do that. But we're here to help you go to the next level so that you can help more people to get this industry that you love so much right up there with the professional bodies. We work as an addition to the doctors and the nurses, etc. We're not here to take over their job.
Yeah.
We're here
and
to
I think this is really a call, like what you've talked about today and how you've had it, what you've done over there is a call to action to hypnotherapists to step up.
Yes, step up.
Actually, to step up. If you want to be seen, if you want it to be, I'm not saying government regulated, but if you want to have all these perks that other people get, and this is not to the people that have stepped that are doing it, but to the people that say to me, oh, but I'm only seeing a couple of clients, or I'm not really, just step up. Like,
step up.
It doesn't even cost a lot. Just bring your energy up to this place of professionalism.
Yeah, even if you're only seeing a couple of clients, that can get you down, because you might be looking at other people like you or myself or somebody else that you trained with, and they're like, oh, they're getting all these clients. Okay, if you're only getting a couple and you're getting down, step up, be part of the registered body, get your supervision, and we will help you with ideas. We will help keep that fire burning in your soul so that you can get that next client, because we're always looking at other people. I used to look up to some huge gurus and think, well, what's wrong with me? Because you're talking about all these clients and all the success you're having, and mine's gone to shit. And what's going on here? And then when I worked it out, I was like, oh, it's only because these people are on social media and they're not talking about their values. I was happy to talk about my values, where I'm like, I had this client, she said she got amazing results, but I didn't quite believe her. What do? That's a Trish issue. That's where your supervision can support you to step out of that and beyond it for the future.
Yeah. And like the biggest thing, if you want to be professional and you want to be respected for what you do, be a professional. And you'll even respect yourself more knowing that you're doing it. Knowing that
makes it real.
It
makes you congruent, where you're like, you know what? I have to do this because I am that next level hypnotherapist. The top level hypnotherapist.
Now, I'm just doing a call out for anyone that has been in our industry actually working full time for 5 years or more. You have to have done a certain amount. There is a training coming up in August if you do want to be a supervisor. It is a proper supervision training. You do pay for it. Like I said, you do have to, in your field of practice, you do have to be working for a certain amount of time, full time in that practice. That's one of the requirements. But if becoming a supervisor is something that you're interested in doing, and you have had that amount of time, and you believe that you would be good at supporting people and being able to tick boxes to are they in scope of practice and things like that, reach out to me, because we do have a few. And you are allowed to use other supervisors as long as they're trained supervisors. But, you know, it would be nice to get a couple more on
Oh,
board. And there is a
absolutely.
training coming up in August. Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
Australia and New Zealand. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that one crosses over from Australia to New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty cool.
Awesome.
Pretty cool. So
Well,
thank you
well done,
everybody who
Trish.
joined. Thank
Exciting.
you. But thank you everybody who joined in on this conversation. And yeah, please, like, you know, especially if you're in Australia, come on to Clinical Hypnosis Australia. If you're in New Zealand, reach out to Justine as well and step up. Please step up
Yep.
because the world freaking needs you.
Yep. And the energy will come with us. Bring this energy up. Yep.
Exactly.
See
All right,
you later,
lovelies. We'll catch
everyone.
everybody in the future. Bye bye.